All right, welcome back to the Speculative Podcast. I'm Joe. I'm here with James. This is part two of a three-part series where we'll be discussing three short stories that take place before the first book in the series, Leviathan Wakes. Second short story we read was Butcher of Anderson Station, based on Fred Johnson. James, your thoughts on this one? I know
it's the best one of the three.
It's the best one. Spoiler alert for the next cast, I guess, right? I still liked Churn the best, to be honest, but... Alright, so...
We'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Yes, we will. But, another frame narrative where flashbacks, but then also...
Yeah.
Current affairs. This time it's Fred Johnson being interrogated by Anderson Dawes returned.
Yeah.
As well. He seemed like a different character in this than he... Did he seem different to you? He seemed a lot more confident in this story than he did when we met him in Leviathan Wakes.
I think part of the lack of confidence in Leviathan Wakes is that Miller is a completely different sort of individual, so it's harder to predict. I want to say that it's harder to predict what his character is going to do or be willing to do, whereas Fred very much fits a very certain mold of person.
I feel like Fred would be more intimidating than Miller, though, right?
Yeah, but it's not. I don't think the confidence is based off of whether or not they're intimidating. It's whether or not you can
anticipate what he's going to do.
Yeah.
All right.
How predictable are they? Yeah.
But highlights his the change in his basically this is full on character reversal where he's a decorated soldier. And it just basically... I
wouldn't call it a character reversal, though.
Well, not revert, but I mean, it completely turned him against...
Yeah, well, he was hard betrayed by an institution that he was trusting. And he expected, he expected something fishy, but he didn't expect that. And to see how far they're willing to go to make a point.
Yeah, make an example out of them. Yeah,
and making him a pawn in the process...
Yeah, so they basically kept it a secret that they had surrendered.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And the other team didn't tell him either, because the other team would have gotten the message. So not only did his high command send him in, but the other team that he was talking to, the negotiation team, would have got that last message and just didn't tell him either. And so, when I read it, and then I reread it, they chose language specific that event. We can only tell you, go ahead. So clearly, the first time I read it, I didn't catch that precise wording. Then I know what's going to happen, and it happens, and I go back and I see it again, and I'm like, they did clearly know. They also were complicit in making you a stooge. I don't know if you want to pull it open to that, but if you see when he reaches out to that team, the negotiation team, he's like, any last minute things you can send me that might change somebody's mind here? And they're like, nope, we can only tell you this, and it's follow your orders, basically.
Yeah.
And they withheld it too. So, he can't even trust his peers or his superiors. And they're willing to use him as a stooge to do what ultimately is the most heinous of things, because these people are civilians. And it's exactly who he's supposed to be protecting. And instead he's murdering them in cold blood and telling other people to do it too.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess the enhanced confidence for Anderson Dawes that I guess I might be feeling out, I guess, is because you basically find out that he is the creator, essentially, or not creator, but the catalyst of the Fred Johnson that we know in Leviathan Wakes, because Fred was going there essentially to try and get somebody to kill him.
Yeah.
So Anderson sort of turned that around. He basically saw right through that. So it also, I guess, helped him basically, that's how they turned it around for him to become the hero there. So, well, the hero for the Belters, not the hero to Earth, obviously, but.
It's also interesting because
you feel the anxiety that he's having leading them as well.
But in Leviathan Wakes, you're limited to just a political view of him. He is just a political figure who has a military past. In this, you actually get to see how competent of a commander he actually was.
I mean, you got you got glimpses of that when they invaded Toth Station.
Sure, but that wasn't him so much. So, but yeah, you're right.
I mean, it was led by his command.
Because when they were doing the grenades down the hallway, that was still him. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
That's right. I forgot he was actually there.
But yeah, you definitely feel. You can almost taste it, the anxiety that he has. Like it's when those green dots are turning to yellow with his own men.
Yeah, well, and he's like, well, and to that end, he's got a script set up so that when something goes red, his medical team knows they have to notify the family. But he's also making sure he gets a message so that he can notify the family.
Yeah.
That kind of deal. So he obviously cares about his troops to a point, the people under his command. It doesn't dive in, that could be a default thing, but it feels like that might not be a normal thing, or they wouldn't call it out. But even beyond that, then his incredulity to like, okay, they had basically slingshots, like nothing. Well, a slingshot could still do a lot of damage. They were using spitball tubes, and we hit them with grenades. Right.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, like I said, they surrendered, and they just didn't relay the message to Fred or anybody on his team. I'm trying to think of like.
But it stays consistent with his character too. He takes that whole burden on himself.
Yeah, I mean, he's embracing the Butcher of Anderson Station moniker to remind him of what, got him into this.
No, but
like he's owning it, I should say.
His Marines under his command don't get to see the video messages. Even the communication guys that he was communicating with when he was watching and listening to the messages, only he saw them. He didn't let any of the rest of them see them. So the burden that he now bears, knowing that these people had surrendered and they just flat murdered them. They weren't combatants. They weren't trying to fight. They were just murdered. He's the only one of the group in his command and in his group of units carrying that burden. Obviously, his superiors all know. They're the ones that made the decision to use him as a tool.
Yeah, I mean, even still, do you think he never once revealed it to him? He just kept it on himself.
No, I think he kept it on himself. I don't.
Yeah, that part it was mentioned, but I didn't read too far into it. So they don't even
you
to the
had more defectors. Don't. Sure, you got people who do, but a lot of people join an outfit like that because they want to defend something.
Right.
And like this was an attack But it was legitimately, it was a defense. It was their station they were taking back.
Yeah.
So you don't think there would have been more defectors than just him if they all found out, hey, we were all used as tools and these people weren't even going to fight?
Yeah, I mean, I considered it, but I thought they would just be unnamed, and maybe they'll show up in the next book. Hey, I happened to be there with him. Blah blah blah. It just wasn't talked about. So that's what I was thinking. But
They were willing to give me the love history of the fucking engine.
yeah, I guess. But so yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the moment of weakness. How did you feel about that? Did you sympathize, or did you? It's sort of.
What do you mean the moment of weakness?
Where he wanted to basically, essentially commit suicide without actually doing it on his own.
Yeah, I could see how that would be depressing. I don't think that that's ever the right call, but I could see how that would be super depressing for someone.
It did humanize him a bit for me, because like I said, he felt pretty stone hard in Leviathan Wakes. Pretty much throughout.
Story. When they first get to that intersection, he's like, oh, they barricaded here. Well, fucking blow them up. We're going to kill some civilians. But they chose to barricade themselves here. That's not our problem. Just fucking blow them up, because I'm not losing any of my folks. And then you get the messages, and...
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, I know he's, like, stone hard, like, military, but I mean, like, up until this point, like, I wasn't even sure if his conscience was real. Like,
Yeah, because he's very much more of a political figure and less of a...
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where I was looking at for there. So yeah, Anderson Dawes much more confident. Definitely kind of cool to see that Fred didn't come to be the man that we know him as today without a push in the right direction.
Earth is just the cause of their own problems. Go figure.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think we'll see more of this, military strong-arming things as we go along, or do you think we're going to start getting...
I don't know.
Do you think it'll be more of a military thing, or do you think they're just going to start leaning more into exploration and hard sci-fi? Not hard sci-fi, but...
I don't know.
Yeah.
I would imagine it would have to continue to take place within the solar system. So they're not going to go hard into the exploration side of things. But does it continue to be intrigue and politics, or does it go heavier into actual combat? I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, what do you think? Do you think Fred is here to stay, or do you think we're gonna?
Yeah.
Okay, so is that why you found more value with this one than you did with Drive, because this is an established character that you feel you're going to be spending more time with?
Yeah, sure. But there is some more relevance to that.
Yeah.
Certainly.
But yeah, guilt is a powerful fuel, as we've learned. Question for you, as far as the same question that I presented to you with Drive.
No, this one isn't shit. Oh, is that not the question?
No, that's not the question. The question is, would you recommend reading this before or after Leviathan Wakes? Because I feel like I'd have a different mindset of Fred.
I like this after.
You like it after? You like the mystery of Fred prior to Leviathan Wakes?
Yeah, because this alters the character.
So you'll look at him. We'll be looking at him differently. If he is in Caliban's War, I guess we'll be looking at him.
He's the face of the OPA now.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like, I've seen books where the main character is set up to be the main character, and then they're killed off immediately
Well,
the following book. So that's why I try not. I shield myself and try not to fall for that anymore. But yeah, I
you
mean,
don't need a Sam Bean.
yeah.
Sean Bean.
Scene,
Sean Bean. Why do I call him Sam Bean?
I thought you said Seed Bean just to be a smart ass.
No.
But yeah. Or the infamous thing that I know that you're not going to like me mentioning, but Dune, where you think we're going to be following Paul Atreides throughout.
Oh, and he's only
And then he's the main character in the second book, but then basically commits himself to the desert to die at the end of the second book, and his kids take over. But he said the first book and the second book set him the beginning set him up to be this powerful thing that we're going to be following throughout. So that's why I wasn't sure, but we'll see. I guess we'll see more Fred, but I guess we'll be looking at him in a different light going forward.
yeah. It lends to his. It lends some depth to his character, which makes me hope that we do get more of him. I don't think that there's a chance in hell that we don't get more of him. But to your point, yeah, it's not unheard of. It's not common, but it's not unheard of to jolt a reader in the beginning piece of a book by taking something that's established and altering it significantly through that character death. So
Yeah. So, any final thoughts?
yeah, this is the best of the three.
It's the best of the three. I mean, I agree with you that it's better than Drive, but I did enjoy Churn more, and we'll get to that one next in part 3. So, we'll end it there, and we'll see you back next time for the Churn, which was the longest story of the 3.